You know what, Colby?
Oh, what's that, Barry?
You're a school. Look at me, I'm Colby. I'm filled with classrooms and clocks. uh, what's going on, guys? My name is Barry,
This is Colby.
and this is Who Watches This. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the second week of Surreal Movies Month.
Uh, yeah.
And
You went on the edge on this one.
I know. I was like, I feel when I was watching this movie, I was like, okay, this is more of a movie where we're really gonna breeze through the actual plot or whatever of the movie, because this movie is so like
Yes.
absurd in its depiction, but not absurd in its themes. And I feel like we're really gonna more focus on like the themes of the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like that, So, yeah, but God, like what really got me to like get to this movie is the movie poster art for this movie looked like super classic 1980s sci-fi.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, did you watch the trailer when I sent you the movie, or?
I did not.
Mm.
I went in totally blind.
And so you're like, the first 3 minutes, you're like, what is going on in this? Like, and it's really cool because like I looked at the history a little bit after, and it's like, oh, the two main leads, the two main female leads of this movie is actually the writer and directors.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was really cool. But yeah, like I guess let's get into the Rhymefest trailer, so we can stop calling it the movie. Jill's a soccer mom whose life is at the top's end, and Lisa is someone who's more fit to be enemy than friend. Both enjoy life in middle class America, probably vacate twice a year, staying at the Marriott. That rhymed last night. But Jill's so pass aggress it's killing her slow, while Lisa is a tad bit meaner that allows her bank to grow. How will Jill cope? Will she hope that it will all pass? Let's find out in 2019's Greener Grass. America and Marriott sounded like it rhymed better, like last night.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna be talking about
Jack Daniels like, hey, those rhyme.
But we're going to be talking about the 2019 indie film Greener Grass, which is, I guess, I'm pretty sure the directorial debut of the two female leads in this movie. And this movie actually stems from a short film that they had done, I think like 2-3 years prior.
Okay.
And so, it's funny, like, before we actually talk about the plot of the movie, is like a lot of people, like, I've seen like in their comments about this movie and like movie journal reviews and all that stuff, where a lot of people felt like this feels like a bunch of Adult Swim shorts made into like a whole film. Right? Like
Yes. Yeah. Like it's see, I like the kind of the opposite, but like similar. I felt like it was a Saturday Night Live sketch that just kept on going.
Oh, and what's funny about that is like I think in one of the movie trailers it says the best SNL skit that never made it to SNL.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
See? There's a guy who watched old SNL right there, Kobe pulling it out. But yeah, it's so funny, right? Because it feels like an SNL skit that that went into like a darker route. It feels very X-Filey in certain portions of it. It feels Outer Limits. It feels like a lot of things that you probably have watched growing up rolled into this like movie of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
absurd strangeness and surrealism.
And
So like
it felt very like 90s, maybe even 80s. Like it felt like
yeah.
this movie could have been 20 years older and it would have been exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, because like if it's super low, I feel like it's super well done on a very low budget. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure the budget was like probably like at least a couple million. I don't know. I didn't look it up. But still, like, yeah. So, let's get into the movie. The movie opens up with two moms at a soccer game, and they're just watching their kids play soccer. Uh, a lot of like almost very reminiscent of like the background music of Halloween playing. Like
mm-hmm.
not like the main one, but like the tense moments where like Michael is watching and not watching. But they're like this movie is so like it's so mundane that it's strange, right?
I yeah,
And like we
and they're so like the shots are so long, like they almost make you feel awkward. Like you're like you switch to something else.
I don't want to be in this conversation anymore. But yeah, these two soccer moms. One is our main character Jill, and her the other character, who is the other director, is the frenemy
Yeah,
Lisa. And they're talking about like super like mundane like soccer mom stuff, like oh Julian, who is the son of Jill, who's like oh yeah he's doing good in school, he's in rocket math, or like maybe that's a little bit later, but they're just kind of like there's a lot of one upmanship in here
yeah,
where like Jill is like talking about like something that's like awesome going in her life, and then Lisa's like, "Oh well, yeah, we did that, but like for 2 weeks or something like that."
right.
Meanwhile, Jill is like cradling her baby, and Lisa's like, "Oh, you have a baby?" She's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, we just had it like what, like 2-3 months ago, and everything." And then like a strange like, like sound effect happens, and Jill's like, "Do you want her?" And Lisa's like, no." She's like, "No, you should have her." And she's like,
Right.
"Okay." And as she like hands this baby in slow motion, it then kind of does a very close-up shot of her like mouth, which is like filled with braces, and she's smiling, but it's like twitching.
Right. Yeah.
And then we get like the credit roll, or like the opening credit roll of that. It's like super like I please leave this shot.
Right. The whole like opening credits is over her super close up of her brace's mouth with like her lips, like she's trying to maintain the smile, but it's
Yeah.
like starting to break down.
But like even in just that like whole exchange, you're like, oh, this is gonna be like a super, it's a super hyperbole type of movie.
Right.
And so like next, well, like so the next scene we get to like the barbecue. There's like a barbecue happening. It's for one of the other kids. I think like the only black person in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And Julian's playing around with the other kids, and then Jill and Lisa come into frame. Lisa and Jill like they go stand next to who you assume is their husbands, and they're like they're talking about like they're grilling meat. They're having another super mundane middle class America conversation about, I don't know, their work. I feel like the conversation didn't even matter in this whole movie.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like
It's that so small talk that like you just like I need to talk to like fill the silence kind of conversations that you have with familiar strangers.
yeah, like not friends, like acquaintances.
Yeah.
But then
Like you're in the break room at work and you're just like Oh, Susan's here. I've got to say something because this is going to be really awkward because we're waiting for the coffee to brew.
And you're like, I
Uh,
don't want her to think I'm rude.
right,
Like, how's your day,
right, yeah.
Susan?
Because there's so much of this is like like feels like it's based around you have to be the most polite you can be.
Yeah.
Like,
But like everything's also like riddled in passive aggressive behavior. And
right, yep,
and before they kind of split from this scene, the two wives start making out with their respective husbands. And we get another super awkward close up of their mouths like kissing each other.
uh,
And they're like, ugh. And then they pull away from this scene and they're like, oh wait, you're not my husband. They're like, oh my god, a little switcheroo. And and then they're like, oh, they're color coordinated,
right,
right?
right.
Because like at the beginning of the scene, you're like, oh, I thought Jill gave away her baby, but then like,
Right, and then you're like, oh yeah, no, her husband's standing next to her with her baby, so because it's the first time you meet them, so
yeah,
you're like, I guess that was just a
a joke,
a joke.
little funny ha-has. But no, it wasn't. Like, and then Jill proceeds to make out with her husband,
Right,
but then Lisa does not make out with her husband.
yeah,
But then, oh man, when we cut back to like Jill and her husband making out, it gets more gross, and like even more so like when they pull away, there's like that string of spit. Like, ugh, ugh. And honestly, I watched this movie twice. After these first two scenes, I don't remember anything else of this. And I was like at work today. I was like trying to reread, like I was trying to read a synopsis to try to like juggle my memory. I watched this Tuesday and Wednesday. I was like, all right, let me like try to remember everything. But then like, I don't. This movie is a fever dream to me, and like,
I, oh totally, yeah. Like I was like halfway through this movie, and I was like, I gotta text Barry and be like, oh, how the hell are we gonna talk about this?
so like now I'm really just gonna like just go off of like things I remember, and hopefully it's in order, chronological order, right? But like throughout this, okay, so like one thing I do want to like preface is like throughout this whole movie, in the background, there's always conversations of a woman named Chloe who had been murdered by the quote unquote bagger killer.
Right,
And so like very early on in this movie, you can tell that this killer is like now hyper focused on Jill.
yes,
And throughout the movie, she's saying things that Jill has just said in that scene, and she's like, and like the person is giggling, and you're like, this is voyeuristically creepy. Like, but like after the scene of like the barbecue, like oh, so like Jill is like telling Lisa, oh, you should come to our house. We just built the pool.
right,
Yeah,
yep,
the pool is so cool, and like there's another scene, and they're like now they're at their house, or like well, the scene after that is like, um, Jill is trying to sort of, not sort of, but she's trying to parent Julian, but Julian feels like a good kid, but he has like weird moments, right?
right. He seems more like a real kid that, and then this is such a like a weird Stepford kind of almost
It's like Steph,
auto,
yeah,
yeah, like automation kind of society, and this is like a real kid who doesn't fit in there.
yeah, but like, and they're like doing the whole piano thing, and then her husband comes. He's like, "Hey, try this water," and she's like, "Oh, it's good." He's like, "Yeah, it's pool water." I changed the filtration system, so it's like you could drink the pool water.
Right, there's no chlorine in it anymore. Now it's so pure.
That's fucking gross. I would be so mad if my spouse like she was
Came
like,
in with a glass of water and was like, drink this.
yeah,
And it was from the pool.
yeah. Oh, it'd be so funny. But like then like the scene after that, like they're like showing off the pool to like their new neighbors and all that stuff, and like Jill is like, oh, like one of the neighbors like, oh, it's so huge, and she's like, yeah, well, they dug the hole because they found that like prehistoric horse. And
That's
my husband was like, "Let's just make a pool." They already dug the hole.
right. This is what they like, because our backyard is the borderline of Pangea.
Mhm.
Or
Well, like Lisa tries to undermine her by saying like there were no horses during the Jurassic period, and she's like, "Well, apparently, like, yeah, the soil is from Pangea, and there was horses in Pangea." So Lisa is like the ultimate like person you don't want around you, because like she's a friend of me, right? She's around because your kids are in things together. But then at
right,
every turn, like like no matter how positive Jill is, when you first meet Jill, her life is pretty, yeah, it's pretty normal for like a suburban life, right?
right, right.
But like Lisa's life, she's also like middle class, but like everything about her life seems like she's unhappy with.
Right. Yeah, she definitely likes Jill's husband more than her own husband. She likes Jill's kid more than her own kid.
Yeah,
Because like there's the like the recital, the kid plays in a recital, and he just decides that he's going to play his own song, not the song the school told him to play,
yeah,
and it's just halfway just banging on keys.
yeah.
And at the end, she was like, "Oh yeah, no, he's." Jill's like, "Oh my God, you embarrassed us so
Yeah.
bad," and Lisa's like, "No, it was very creative."
Well, no, like so, like that happens, like so, like okay, so like yeah, that the scene where Jill's like super upset with her son, she's like, and then like the dad's like, we wasted money on piano lessons, and he's like, no, I like the piano, I just didn't want to play the piece that they wanted me to play.
Right?
And
Yeah.
like when we cut to Lisa and her home is, it's smaller than Jill's. It's a very average like middle class home.
Right.
Jill's life is a little bit more than middle class.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like upper middle class, not like rich, but like upper middle class. Because especially like when like the era that we came from is somebody had a pool in their house. Oh, that was like our version of like people having colored TVs in their house. From like the 50s and 60s. It's like, oh my god, you guys have a color television,
Right.
and then
Yep.
the pool is just like that one is like, yeah, it's just upper echelon, like not rich, but like upper middle class. And so like when we cut to Lisa's home, like I believe her son's name was Bob. Bob was like, you know, uh, I think I played my piece pretty decent for my age group. Better than Julian. He was just banging on keys and he doesn't even know how to read sheet music. And Lisa's like defending. She's like, well, Beethoven didn't know how to read sheet music, which is a lie. Beethoven did know how to read sheet music. He was just deaf. He just
Yeah.
couldn't hear the music. And then she's like, I thought Julian's piece was creative. So it's like, lady, what are you doing? Oh yeah, so like you could definitely tell like she just wants Jill's life, right?
Yeah.
And so like after that, like I believe it was Jill's husband's birthday, and like this whole time, like Jill is like super upset at Julian because Julian keeps like pissing himself.
Right. Right.
And so she's taking him to the bathroom and she's like, go pee right now. And he's like, I don't have to pee. And she's like, yes you do. You just keep pissing all over the place, because like earlier on her like she had to go to the school because the teacher was like, oh, Julian peed on the beanbag. And she was like, oh, like I'll clean it. And she's like, you can't because it's all over the beans. And she's like, well, I have it replaced. She's like, well, you can't do that either because it's irreplaceable. My mother stitched that, until like my
And
dad
it was
killed her.
right. It was the last thing that she made before she killed my father
Oh,
and my brother and my two sisters. What?
like, oh shit. And so like she was super tired of that. So when they got to like the birthday, she's like, this pissing your pants has to stop,
Right.
right? And then so like when they get outside, they're like, oh, here's the cake for Jill's husband. Julian comes out and he's like, happy birthday to you.
Right. And it's like the Marilyn Monroe like happy birthday, Mr. President. Like,
Yeah.
that's how it seems like it's going.
But then like he belly flops into the pool, and then he comes out as a golden retriever,
Right.
and they're like, "What the hell?"
Yep. Still wearing Julian's clothes and
Yeah.
Grandpa's Purple Heart
Yeah, metal.
medal.
Right, and then like yeah, and so like the next couple of scenes, they're just treating Julian like still a boy, like he's still going to school. Uh,
Right. And it's a very interesting because like mom is I don't really know how to I love Julian, and even if he had problems, he was my son and he was the best thing in my life.
yeah,
And now it's like I don't understand how to deal with him being a dog. And dad's the opposite. Dad was like his attitude was like, oh, this smart kid, but he's not athletic. He pees all over the place.
yeah,
But now he's a dog, so it doesn't matter if he pees everywhere. And now he's really good at soccer, and he'll chase a baseball.
yeah.
He's like the athletic kid I always wanted. I'm so much happier with this dog.
And it feels like that whole like situation, as strange as it is like it's like Julian conforming to the society, but the only way he could conform was to become a dog,
I, right?
because
Yeah,
that's it feels like essentially that's what they wanted, like something that was going to obey all their commands. And
yeah,
who's the
yeah.
best at doing that? A dog, right? And so like
And then all of a sudden, and like also, like, she still takes him to school, and
mhm.
she's trying to put his glasses. Like, Julian, you know you can't see the board if you're not wearing your glasses. But now all the kids are like, "Yay, Julian's a dog!" And they're like, "You can't play with Julian till recess."
It's so absurd, right? Meanwhile, like after that happens, like Jill goes back to Lisa, and she's like, "Hey, Lisa, since Julian is like a dog now, do you think I could have Madison back?" She's like, "No." And first of all, her name is Paige, not Madison.
Right.
And it actually really hurts that you would ask me that. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And then like, it happens again at like the soccer game.
Right. Because she gets because Lisa gets pregnant with the soccer ball.
Well, like she puts the soccer ball underneath her dress, and like they come back like, "Oh my God, Lisa, you're pregnant." She's like, "Yeah, it just happened."
But you look 9 months.
Exactly, right? But it's like, okay, so like, sorry, before that, there was like a scene like Bob, who's Lisa's son, feels like a really normal kid during this whole situation until he
Right.
watches a show called Kids with Knives.
Right. It's obviously it's a child show that or it's an adult show that seems to be aimed at children, and it's like South Park or something like that, where like the parents are like, no, you can't watch that because then you'll become bad and you'll start cussing, and yeah, dad just falls asleep,
Yeah,
kid watches it, and then he's
a demon child after that.
demon child. Yep.
Yeah, and so like this whole movie is so odd, right? But then after that, like they go, like it's strange, right? Because like then like Lisa gives birth to it and calls it Twilson,
Right. He's
and
like, I would name it Wilson, but that's Tom Hanks's ball's name.
yeah, it's so strange. And then like oh bless you,
Excuse me.
and then all of a sudden they go like bowling, and Jill, with all the things that have been happening, like Jill. Okay, there's a scene where like Jill puts Dog Julian to bed, and Dog Julian has like a really huge dollhouse in his bedroom, and the bagger murderer is there. I was like, that was fucking creepy. But they go bowling, and even with all the things that's been happening, like Jill seems to try to keep a very optimistic view.
Right. Yeah.
But then, like like Jill is hanging out with like Lisa, the other lady we met at the beginning of the movie, and another lady who is a recent divorcee.
Right. Yeah.
And Lisa all of a sudden is like, you should just divorce Nick, which is her husband's name. And she's like, are you sure? Like, I mean, I think we're like pretty okay. And she's like, nah.
And yeah, and then all the friends are all like, "Oh, you're just okay. You're supposed to be happy. You should definitely get divorced." And she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go tell him."
Oh my. And Nick is like, what? Baby, like, what are you talking about? Like, we're doing so good. Like, Julian is finally the son I wanted. And she's like, no, like, my friends think, like, if I got divorced, I'd be so much happier. And it's just not working. And then we cut to a scene, like, they're talking to dog Julian, and she's like, this is going to be really hard for me to tell you, but my friends think I would be so much happier if I divorced your dad. And he's like, it's so funny because I feel like this is like probably the first time he kind of breaks this character that he's playing in this movie. Not like as a like an actor, but like as a person in this film.
Right.
Like he's like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, I don't know, man. Sorry to say, but like at a certain point, I was like, I think I have to divorce this guy. Like, he's made an icicle of pool water and just like licking that.
But it's so interesting because she's talking to Julian. Dad's sitting right there. She's talking to Julian, and she's like, "If you have any questions on why we're getting divorced, just ask, and I'll be happy to explain anything to you." And then Dad's like, "I have no idea why we're getting divorced. Explain it to me."
I've told you, my friends think I would be so much happier if I got divorced. I was like, oh my god, I feel like I would have just drove my car off a bridge after that. Like, I was like, where am I living at? And so like after that, like she goes back to Lisa's like, Lisa, like since Lisa, oh no, Jill goes to get a haircut, which a lot of people do after like a breakup. They like cut their hair to feel like a new person. But
Right.
in this world, it's like super strange. Like she's cutting, like they're like in this hair salon. As they're cutting hair, like blood is like spewing out of their hair. I was like, what is this signifying? I'm not sure. But while she's getting her hair cut, Nick comes over, and he's like, he has like two 5-gallon bottles, and he's like, "Hey Jill, I'm just here to refill all my pool water." But then, like,
right, because now he's living in the attic above the post office with the other lady whose husband who got divorced.
And as he's filling up these jugs of like 5-gallon water bottles with water, Julian comes out like a dog, no clothes on, and he's like, "Oh my God, Julian, why are you naked?" Oh God, your mother's not taking care of you. And so
right, yeah, she went to go get her haircut, and she just left her son at the house alone, naked.
Yeah. And so like Jill is like, she goes back to Lisa's like, "Oh my God, Lisa, like Nick took Julian," and Lisa's like, "Yeah, I know. Nick came by here and told us what happened. How could you leave your son alone, naked? Oh my God." And she's like, "Well, now that I've lost my husband and I guess my son, can I have Madison back?" She's like, "Oh my God,
right.
no."
And now that you have Twilson, another child.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh my God, no. What? So you could leave her alone to go get a haircut?" "No, I'm sorry, Jill." And at this point, Jill is like on a full downward spiral, and so she gets like in this she tries to go back home, and now this is like where we get introduced to little Helen, who was the yoga instructor person.
Yes,
Not really.
The lady who came in to replace the yoga instructor who had got killed by the baggage or the bag boy killer.
Yeah. And she's like, "Here, just watch Twister." I think that's the same thing. If I come to find out, it's actually her, and she's like now trying to take over Jill's life.
Yes.
and just
and she's like, it's the I know her from as being the PE coach
from
from
Glee,
Glee.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like single white femaled her life, because like in her home in the background you can see that she's put her face over Jill's face on the family portraits and stuff like that,
Yep. Yep.
and she's like repeating things that Jill has said throughout the movie, and Jill is like, "You're in my house." She's like, "No, just not your house. This is my house." She's like, "No, I'm pretty sure this is my house." Like, "No, it's not." It like, and she's like, "Oh, let me get the fuck out of here. This lady's unstable, right?" And but now she's like complete downward spiral, because she's lost everything, and so she gets on her golf cart. And we get this. I don't. I don't remember when she cuts off the braces. Was it before or after the? No, it was before the. She starts driving the golf cart, right?
Well, she drives like till the sun goes down, and then she stops,
Yeah.
and then she pulls a pair of pliers out of like the trunk of the golf cart
Yeah.
and rips her braces off, and then
Oh.
bloody blood dripping from her mouth. She
Yeah.
jumps back in and keeps on driving.
When and she drives all the way to her old house, which is
Yeah.
like, this house is very. It's not a bad house, but it's like on the outskirts of town, and
Right.
it looks very like very rustic.
Yeah.
And she like knocks on the door, and like this, now the only other black woman in this movie answers. She has like her full like nighttime routine up on her face, and she's like,
Yep.
"Can I help you?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry to bother you, but this just used to be my house." And she's like, "Okay." And she's like, "Can you, like, I was wondering if I could just, like, sit on the toilet, because that's where I used to think." She's like, I gotta put these kids to bed." She's like, "Oh, okay. Well, like, can I ask for, like, one small favor?" And I was just, maybe it'll be okay. She's like, "Can I take one of your kids?" She's like, "Absolutely."
We've got so many.
Yeah.
Can I just have one?
Absolutely not. She like goes to close the door. She gets back on her golf cart, but then she starts looking at one of the kids that almost came out,
Yeah.
and it just abducts this little child. They show up at like this diner, and then on the news it says, like, there's like a news thing where it's like, "Oh, the bag boy murderer found at Jill's house." She
Was actually little Helen.
Little Helen, and she was found out by Lisa, who is a friend of Jill, and both of these women both have braces on the news. And Lisa is like kind of hamming it up. She's like, "Well, I went to go check up on Jill because she's like having such a hard time." And yeah, I found this strange lady, wearing Jill's clothes in her home, and so I called the police, and they came, and and yeah,
Oh, right, because she was like, and I knew it wasn't Jill, because this lady was like, "Oh, the kids, I can't let you in. The kids are upstairs asleep," and I knew she didn't have any kids.
I would have. I would have hurt this lady a long time ago. Yeah, and so like Jill is like, "Oh my god, my life, it might be, I can probably get my house back." And so she drives there, like she drives all night, and she finally gets there. Like there's another soccer game. Like we're kind of ending this movie how it started, at the soccer game,
Yeah.
and like like she tells like the girl she abducted, like, "Oh, go play soccer," and she sits next to Lisa, who is now wearing Jill's clothing. And like they're having again like super meaningless small talk, until like Lisa's like, "Oh, hey, like you should come over with like your new kid, and come in our pool," and she's like, "You don't have a pool." And she's like, actually, so like when I went to your house, I was like, "Oh, this house is pretty dope, so I live here now." She's like, "What?"
You weren't there. You were gone for one day, so we just moved in.
Yeah, like I just colonized your house. And and Nick lives with us now because he's our pool boy, so he can maintain the pool. and all that stuff, and like the strange music kind of comes back on, and like Jill looks at the soccer field, and it's like a bunch of graveyards. It's a graveyard. And
Yeah,
she's like, "Have the kids always played on top of a graveyard?" She's like, yeah." And she's like, and like she's almost like having, like she's already been having this like ongoing thought process, like revelation.
right.
And she's like, okay, like like she's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, And as the moment she stands up, like the mood of the movie kind of glooms over. It gets a little bit cloudy, but and so like as she like stands up to like get the fuck out of there, the what's it called? The referee turns around. He's like, out of bounds. And then everything kind of returns to like that very like bright sunny palette,
Yeah, yep.
and like Lisa looks at Jill, and they do like that super slow mo smile, and Jill, who's looking disheveled at this point, she looks homeless now. It's like, and the movie just ends there, dude.
Yeah, yep.
All right, before we get into our thoughts about the movie, let's go into our other section: high star and low star.
We got quite a few 10 out of 10s. Nobody talked very much about it, which is surprising. I figured I would be like, I gotta find one that's like short enough to read. But we got 10 out of 10. A bit over exaggerated, or a bit over exaggerated truth. I haven't seen anybody mention that this satire is based so much on truth. It's like watching a documentary. Nowadays, people strive to be better than even their friends and compete without compassion for others. Just a fake show and a masquerade for everybody else. It's a funny movie about how people think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence and don't look at where they stand in their lives when everything's falling apart because they are just looking at the distractions and trying to fit into the theater play that they might not even agree to. But follow the sheep like but follow the sheep like because of I'm not sure what they're trying to say there. Sheep like because they're being afraid to be left out and not fitting in.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. And then we have like a 1 out of 10. Even Rotten Tomato recommendations sound like a dude trying to make you try pop for the first time. It might make you feel strange, but you might like it. The topic is overdone and much better renditions exist. The movie uses absurdity to the point of losing resonance with its viewers. The kid becomes the dog, the soccer ball baby. This is utter silliness that the viewer must seriously contend with for way too long. Yes, the trailer laughs exist, but chuckles like someone falling down unexpectedly. When the Truman Show moments happen towards the end, Truman does not leave the set, but continues to assimilate to the set with a different attitude, which leaves my attitude sour on this film. Nothing to say, not to me, the directors, and the writers. Colby, what are your thoughts on this film?
Okay, so I also watched it twice. The first time, like it ended, and I was like, "That was a fun movie, but it doesn't mean anything. Like it's just absurdity, and dark humor. Yeah. Um, and then like as it marinated in my mind, like it was like it has to be deeper than that. Like there is so much things that could be symbolism
Yeah.
that I couldn't connect the first time I watched it. And so then the second time I was like, oh, like water. They have so much, there's like water is involved so much. The bathroom, the kid going to the bathroom, her wanting to go back to her old toilet to think, like that's got to connect. And I didn't really put a lot of things together, but there's things that are in there that are like repeated enough that I feel like they have to be intentional.
I mean, like, so, like, me and you, like, I feel like we grew up, like, like, not, we didn't grow up poor. We pretty much were, like, middle class, like,
Right.
societies.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is, like, well, I mean, like, I grew up, like, in different levels at certain points of my life. Uh,
Right. Yeah. Me too.
like, first, like, me and my mom, we, like, had, like, a studio apartment, and then we kind of grew from there, which is like the American dream for like any immigrant family like
Right.
mine. Uh, but like it's so funny because like if you grew up in like the suburbs, you understand, especially like in a suburb like this where it's a very tight knit, a lot of community things happen. That suburbia is like its own very strange ecosystem.
Eh, Right.
Especially for like the dynamics that are like shown in this movie where if like this movie I don't know what year it takes place in. It seems like maybe the 70s or the 80s. And so like
But right. It like yeah.
it never
It's hard.
clarifies.
It's hard to.
But it's funny because it feels like it wouldn't at the moment like society turned into like this more modernization. Like suburbs didn't pop up until like what like the mid 50s or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Ever since then, it wouldn't have mattered what year this would have been placed in because the ecosystem of suburbia is always going to be the same. Especially if you have like if you have the life situations where the husband is working and you have like stay-at-home mothers who like their whole life is like their kids, but like it's also like their little group of like moms, stay-at-home mom friends.
Yeah. Right.
And it's always like a lot of one-upmanship. It was like because like throughout the whole movie, Jill Jill seems to have a pretty good life. They get the pool, they have like the big house, they go on vacations, and meanwhile Lisa doesn't have the big house, doesn't have the pool, and has never left America to go on a vacation, and that's why she envies Jill's life so much. But like like their economic disparity isn't really that much larger. It's just one is a little bit happier and more content with her life versus like the other one who's just the was it comparison is the theft of joy or whatever like that, the thief of
I,
joy.
right. Yeah. 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 Definitely. The grass is greener.
Exactly, right. And so like the whole time like Lisa is constantly undermining Jill's happiness and her contentness with her life because like throughout the movie it doesn't seem like Jill's asking for more. It's just like Nick is providing the things naturally.
Right. Yeah.
Like she didn't ask for the
And
pool.
and it's a little of that jealousy, but it's kind of that like um, I don't necessarily need more to try to catch up with you,
Hmm.
but if I make you feel bad about what you have, then you're not so happy, and then
Yeah,
I feel like I'm a little bit more on your level.
exactly. Right. It's that friend that like when the girls are around are like, oh yeah, Barry likes anime, fucking nerd. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He likes fucking cartoons and shit. It's like that guy that like like when you're young, you definitely there's always like that one person in your friend group that feels like he has to put somebody else down
Right. Yep.
to be like, yeah, I'm the better catch, right? You know what I mean? My dick is probably bigger. Yeah, and there's like a huge amount of like hype, like the whole absurdity things in here, right? Like everybody is super passive aggressive. Um, everyone's like overly polite. Like where there's like a couple scenes in this movie where they go to like a four-way stop, and everybody is
Oh,
like, "Please go, please go, please go," And then like at the end where Jill was on that four-way stop when she's having her breakdown, she's just like, "Fuck this."
Right. She even says, please go, like 2 or 3 times. And then she's just like, I can't,
Deal with this right now.
yeah, I can't play the polite game. I got to get out of here.
But then like later, like someone like kind of mentions like, yeah, Jill was at a four-way stop and she was so fucking rude.
Yep. Yep.
And so and then like when you get to Jill's like home, her childhood home, it seems much more like a humble home
Mm-hmm.
where you feel like, okay, so she didn't grow up in this like middle class lifestyle, and so that's why it feels like her whole character is like she's a super people pleaser. She's always trying to assimilate and and and, and feel a part of this group that she's very foreign to.
Right. Yeah. That. Like, yeah. She didn't grow up in it, so it's not as natural to her.
Yeah, like she doesn't have like that undermining like characteristic where she doesn't have that cattiness to her because she's still also trying to find a place where she fits.
Right.
And when Julian, who I feel like mirrors her younger self, like becomes a dog, she's like, "Oh no, I've lost like possibly the connection that I used to have to my younger self in
Right.
Julian." And like I don't know, like okay, and so like when she at the end of the movie gets up and says like I got to get out of here because everything about this place is strange, when she sees like the kids playing on the graveyard and the referee tells her to sit down, and it kind of goes back to that sunflowery type of situation. I think the graveyards are like the people who have let go of their individualism.
Okay. Right. It's like symbolic of
Yeah, they're
their
pat.
previous life, their individual life, and now
Yeah,
they're just part of this. They've become Stepford Wives, basically.
yeah. I don't know what else to think because this movie is, yeah, it's like it's super absurd that like that's really the only place my mind can go to.
Right.
Yeah, because yeah, I don't like again like I think that's what this whole movie is about is like the absurdity of the fakeness of middle class America or like I don't know suburbia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like we live in Vegas, and so like we live in the suburbs of Vegas. I couldn't tell you my neighbors' names.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the. I live in a little fourplex, like little condos, and I know the people above me because their air conditioning broke and was leaking into my house.
Oh my god.
And I so I know the dad and the son. I don't even like the mom speaks Spanish, and I waved to her as I walked by, but yeah, I
They're
don't know
like
her name or
they're
anything.
like, oh, there goes that gringo that lives downstairs.
And then I knew when I very first moved in, I knew like the little old lady who lived because she was the gossip, and she would walk around with her dog, and if I was outside, she'd be like, "Oh, let me tell you about Joe over on the other side. You got to watch him because his car got broken into, and then the people up at the front, they always let extra kids come and swim in the pool, and
And you're like, Florence, why do you care about the pool? You're not going in there. But that's kind of dying off.
right.
Like having that sense of community, at
Oh
least
yeah,
here.
but like yeah, like the little old lady, she moved 6 years ago, and
To
we've had
heaven.
two different tenants in there, and I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know dick about them.
Yeah, the person whose door faces my door, I couldn't I couldn't pick them out of a lineup. I've seen them so infrequently.
Yeah, and it's like it's funny because like when I first moved to the house that I live in now, like there was only like three houses on my block at the time. So it was a little bit easier to be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Shane?" I forgot his name now cuz he moved away, because like, I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" That's it.
Right.
Like and it's so funny because like one of my old neighbors who also had moved out, they're like a Filipino family. And like, they saw me a couple times when I went to go get the mail. And so one day, like, he was like, hey man, my daughter's having a birthday on Saturday. You should come by. I was like, I don't know you, dog, but like it's yeah, but like, the politeness of like, well, these are my neighbors, okay. Like, after work, I think I went to go like to Target to buy like a Lego set or something.
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, here you go. This is like going into that house was so strange. Like nobody knew who I was. I mean, like if I was party crashing, it's super easy to do that in a Filipino house. You're like, "Oh, hey, what's up, tito? Hey, what's up, uncle?" You say, and then like, yeah. But I was like, "Oh, here you go. This is for your daughter." And he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man? You came. I'm so happy." And he's like, "Oh, come to the back. Drink." I was like, "Okay." You kind of
Yes,
just
please, something to make this easier.
yeah. He's like, "Yeah, make a plate." I was like, "Okay." So I just started eating, drinking an absurd amount of like liquor because I was like, I could just walk home. And but like it's like, as like a neighbor, like a society, you try to be. There's like certain levels of politeness, and like that's like, okay, yeah, I could do this.
Right, but it's almost you almost were the baby. It was like you're like, I don't know these people, and they invited me over. They just asked me for my baby. I was like, okay, I've got another one here. You can have it. Yeah,
Yeah,
come over.
yeah,
Give your kid some Legos.
yeah. Here, this is for your child. Yeah, and like it's also like in my head is like, well, if my house gets broken into, like I want them to report it.
Right.
Because for
Yeah.
me it's like they could be moving for all I know. I am so in that mode of like I'm gonna mind my business.
Yeah.
Some people move at 2 in the morning. It's hot in Vegas. Which is so funny because I had a coworker that said that, like, yeah, we just moved into our house, but we had to like move at like 2 in the morning because that's when everybody gets off work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like it is a 24-hour town, so like if
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, if your
but like,
friends all are working, then you because that's the worst. Is somebody's like, "Hey, I'm moving, and I also want you to get up at a very inconvenient time to help me." It's
yeah,
like,
it's like,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
but for me, it's like, well, you're moving, so I have to be that nice? And this is also like why I refuse to get a truck because once you have a truck, you're like, oh, he's gonna
yep,
help. He
yep,
has to help. And then like it's funny because it's like also like in our society, like it's only started now that like people have started to put up boundaries.
mm,
It's like, hey man, we're cool at work, but don't text me after that. you know, because the moment I clock out, I want to go be with my family and my actual friends.
yes, yep,
Here at work, I tolerate you. And like it could still like rub a lot of people the wrong way. Like, like it's funny because like at my job, people like they're constantly asking like, "Oh, who wants to work OT?" Thankfully, I'm at a job where like you're not required to.
right,
And so I'm like, "Nope, I'm okay. I don't want to do overtime." And like recently I've been like hearing from other coworkers like, You know, he's like, oh, how come Barry never wants to work overtime? He doesn't have kids or anything. I was like, it doesn't matter if I have kids or not. You know, if I want to like get off work and fuck your wife, I'm gonna I'm gonna go do that because that's my personal time. You know what I mean? I've set up boundaries. I like unless it's mandatory, I'm not gonna do that. You know, like that's your guys'. This is my boundary.
Right. Yeah.
You know, work life balance, baby. And so like that's like probably the only portion of this movie where I kind of like I hated it because it's like I really wanted her to punch Lisa in the face. I wanted her to punch Lisa in the face, take her baby back, and like burn the house down and get out of that place. Because like also like my whole thing with like because like Chloe, the person who had gotten murdered by the bag boy murderer, which is little
Yeah.
Helen, I feel like that happened right because at that moment when Jill was in the same situation as Chloe, who was the woman that got murdered, Jill was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here because she was still sort of in the middle. She was like in the process of assimilating,
Right.
but probably still had some portion of her that was like little Julian, where he didn't want to conform. He didn't want to like do the things that other kids were doing. He wanted to be himself.
Right.
And I feel like Chloe didn't leave. She was like, no, this is my house. This is my house. This is my family. Blah blah blah. And that's when like little Helen freaked out, pushed her down the stairs. I believe is how she got killed.
Yes.
But then, unfortunately, at the end of the movie, she decided to still like go through the process of assimilating in this life, which I think me and you we've seen kind of people do that,
Right.
you know,
Totally.
and that's why I was like,
And it didn't even register till you were saying that really till she went out of town and the to her old house and the person was like, no, you can't come in. That was like the first time anybody said no in the whole movie. Like everything was always
well,
like,
no, Lisa kept saying no. Remember?
oh, you're right, no, you
Yeah,
can't have your baby back.
but that's because Lisa was like she was used to like that life,
Yeah.
to that suburb life, to that like mean girl sort of personality where she was used to being catty and she was like Lisa was the most negative person in Jill's life.
Right.
But like
And it wasn't so much a like a no, you can't have your kid back, but it's a no, you gave it to me, why would you?
yeah, that's so rude.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would not. I was like, no, I'm moving out of this place. This place is fucking weird. I think you know what I mean. Like I was like, no, I'm sorry, babe. Lisa keeps like coming on to me. She gave me this weird fucking clown figure, and she was like, it's you. It was like, I think I almost, you know, I don't hit women, but I think I almost punched her in the face. Oh man, this movie is like if you like for anybody out there, if you have ever lived in a suburb, especially like in this sort of like tight, like this movie definitely could have taken place in like Kansas or something like that.
Oh, right.
Small
Yeah.
town suburbia. Yeah, you definitely have to watch this movie and like you're gonna find truth in it. But we're we're coming up to an hour, so first of all, I want to go ahead and thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all of our other months down below, where we have things like Clown Month. You know, we have our holiday months. We have actor specific months. We have director specific months, and so there's definitely going to be something there for you. But we do our reviews in 4 different sections where we have stream it, DVD, Blu-ray, and the Ultimate Box Collection. Kobe, where you at for this one?
Um, I don't know what we would get with Ultimate Box. I don't know if there's any,
Stepford Wives, something like that.
but yeah, no, this is Blu-ray all the way. I already want to watch it like a third time because I've got to put pieces together. Like, this is like that that puzzle in my mind that's gonna like it's gonna just always kind of be there. Like 3 years from now, I'll be like, oh, you know what? The little Helen was wet when she was showing Twister,
Yeah.
so she must have already been in the pool. You know.
Yeah. I think this would be an easy Blu-ray for me as well. I think it's so strange and absurd that it kind of keeps you engaged in it because you're like, how much weirder can this fucking movie get?
Oh, right,
But
and sure, we're suggesting it to all you listeners, but like I'm already thinking of like friends and family that I know. I'm like, who would appreciate this, and who would just hate me for making them watch this? Because I wanna recommend it to both those people.
yeah, and like the person that was like, oh yeah, this is totally hilarious, and the other one's like, that was weird.
Right?
One
Yeah.
person is like somebody that grew into middle class America, and the other person had like he had been born there, bred there. You merely adopted suburbia. I was born into it. Bred by suburbia. Oh man, yeah. It's definitely what's it called? What's that fucking candy with coconut in it?
Almond Joy.
Yeah, it's an almond joy situation. You either love it or you're gonna hate it.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, but I want to thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all the links down below where we have our social medias.
Yeah. We got our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube.
Yep, you name it, we got it.
We got it.
I want to thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out the theme music, is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on our album Music Podcast 3, and the Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.